Today, I'm going to try to turn tofu into Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. I think I can do it. I've got a Copycat Chick-fil-A nugget recipe from Dinners, Dishes, and Desserts. It calls for 2 boneless chicken breasts, so we are not going to do that. We are going to start with a block of extra firm tofu that I've put in my tofu towel and dried out. So to make my Chick-fil-A nuggets, I'm going to start with my marinade. It calls for a cup of pickle juice. Now, I'm not going to make quite the same amount as it has here, so I'm going to dump in the pickle juice that I have, including all the garlic and all the good stuff. It's not going to be quite a cup, but I think it'll be good enough. So I've got a cup of pickle juice. It calls for a cup of milk, and I'm going to go ahead and add some of this Better Than Bouillon vegetarian chicken seasoning to give a little chicken flavor to this. So let's add that in there. I'm doing about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. I'm going to stir that all in there. Let's see if I can get this marinade all mixed together. I am going to break my tofu into chunks for this one so it looks more like a nugget and not like, you know, cubes of baked nuggets, if that makes any sense. And I've noticed that the Chick-fil-A nuggets are kind of smallish, not quite as big as like a McDonald's kind of nugget. So I'm going to do that. And the recipe has the chicken soaking in this marinade for a couple of hours. I don't know if I need to do that with tofu, but we're going to let it sit aside for a while and come back and put the breading on and give them a fry. Looks like I'm going to need a little bit more marinade because my nuggets aren't completely under, or maybe I'll just give it a stir every once in a while. Well, I've got an idea. I'm going to put my nuggets into here so I can just shake it every few minutes. And that'll give me a good coverage of my nuggets. While we're waiting for these to soak, I'm going to go ahead and mix up the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to need 1 and 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Now that's an interesting ingredient too. I do know that adding cornstarch makes a fried mixture extra crispy, and there is cornstarch in the powdered sugar. So 2 tablespoons, which is an 1/8 cup. Which I've got right here. So the recipe calls for salt. I'm going to use some Lowry seasoned salt. It calls for 2 teaspoons of that. I'm going to put a little bit less salt in because the chicken style seasoning I used in the tofu is extra salty. So I'm going to go ahead and put in maybe 1 1/2 of these so I don't over salt my nuggets. And then I'm going to add some paprika, a teaspoon of that. I'm going to add a little onion and garlic powder because I don't know anything that's not better with onion and garlic in it. So let's do that. And I think we're good to go. Let's give it a stir and we will sit aside while we are waiting for everything to sit. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to turn this camera off so that I can clean up my kitchen a little bit and come back and we'll cook up our nuggets. I got busy yesterday and I never got a chance to finish my nuggets. So these are my nuggets. They've been marinating in the refrigerator overnight, and every once in a while I'll go in and give them a shake and make sure they all have a little bit of flavor on them. And so here are my nuggets. These are the unfrozen version, and then we have our breading mixture. I'm going to leave as much moisture in this as possible. Now it sounds kind of strange because we always try to drain out as much water out of our tofu as possible, but this liquid has flavor. And we want to leave this liquid in there so it'll be a juicy nugget. It won't be a dry nugget. I find that a lot of these vegetarian or vegan nuggets tend to be dry because they try to drain all the water out. I'm just going to put a few nuggets into my flour. I'm going to give it a shake. Maybe I'll get a fork out so that I just want to make sure they're all completely covered. Whoops. You want to knock all the extra flour off, especially if you're going to bake them. I'm going to do 2 methods. I'm going to bake them. I'm also going to pan fry them. That way you can see the difference. We don't pan fry a lot, but occasionally it's okay. You're saving a lot of fat and cholesterol by not using meat, so this is a great alternative. My oven does have an air fry feature on it, so I'll use that when I cook them. So if you have an air fryer at home, this might be a great method. I feel like I want to try battering them instead of just breading them. So I'm going to make a batter just with the ingredients that we already have. I'm going to add a little bit of this marinating liquid or browning liquid, and I'm going to add a little bit of the flour mixture that we're using to bread the nuggets with, and I'm going to stir that up until it makes a batter. Then I'm going to dip my nuggets into this and bake them, and we'll see which one comes out better. All right. So now I'm battering these nuggets. We are going to fry them with the flour dredge, and we're also going to try them in this batter, which is the same ingredients as before, but just prepared a little differently. These ones here I'm going to fry just for fun. All right, I've cleaned up my area and I'm going to pop these in the oven. But before I do, I'm going to show you a little secret. I'm giving each of these nuggets a little spray of oil. This will keep the flour from being dry when we get them out of the oven. Okay, pop these in the oven. Okay, we're going to put these in the fry pan with a little bit of oil and we'll see how they come out.
These chicken nuggets are browning up nicely. It just takes a few minutes on each side.
Nuggets are all done. It's time for a taste test to see which ones we like better. I do want to mention that you can eat these just like this, like a chicken nugget, or you can toss them in something like a barbecue sauce or a buffalo sauce and make a great meal that way. You could also toss them into a pan of roasted vegetables and eat them like that. This is just a great way to substitute chicken chunks with tofu chunks. So let's try the different kinds and see what we think. Now these are the fried ones. These ones are battered, and these are the ones that were just tossed in the flour mixture. So let's see what I think. It's really good. So the ones that were fried that were just in the flour are crispier than the battered ones, but they're both very good and they would be good in any recipe. And just eating like this, I mean, I could just eat these all day. They don't have any tofu taste. They taste really good. I'm tasting the brine that we put them in, the pickle juice, and the chicken style broth. You know how sometimes tofu has no flavor except for on the outside? Because we soaked it in that broth for quite some time, they're juicy. And they also had that flavor. I could taste a little pickle, a little chicken. So I really like the way these came out. Now let's try the baked ones. Now these are the baked battered ones. This one I think would be better if it was tossed in a sauce. The batter tastes a little bit not crunchy. I'm not sure what the texture is. These are just the ones that had the flour mixture and a little bit of oil spray. Those are very good. Now if you're eating these just plain like nuggets, I think the fried ones are going to taste better to you because you're used to the fried. But I do think that you would not miss the fry taste on these if they were tossed in a barbecue sauce or a buffalo wing sauce or even in a pan of roasted vegetables. Those are really good. Now I'm going to try them with my favorite barbecue sauce. Now we can just dip them like this. So good. I went ahead and mixed them up into some honey mustard sauce and some barbecue sauce, and these are fantastic. These would make great wraps, great summertime meal when you're eating with family. I promise you, if you make these, you're going to love them.